Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Battle of Ontario Hockey Podcast, featuring a Senators fan and a Leafs fan. We're here to talk about your two favorite teams, the rest of the NHL, local hockey, hockey all around the world, and to bring back memories from your favorite hockey teams and players. If you love the Leafs, Sens, B-Sens, NHL, or any other hockey, including the late Belleville Bulls, you are going to want to tune into our podcast. The gloves are off, the buckets are spinning, let's get the chirps flying. Welcome to the BOOclub!
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Battle of Ontario Hockey Podcast. I'm Brokey, and that's Fleming. We got lots to talk about today, but we would like to present this podcast from Rajat Home Hardware in Tweed for all your building supplies, anything around your house, guys. The weather's beautiful out now. You know, you want to do some gardening, you want to fix a wall, whatever it is, inside, outside, they have it. They're great people, and they're awesome to deal with. I've personally been there many, many times. So, guys, for all your home improvements, see Rajat Home Hardware in Tweed. So, Flem, we've got a big episode here, buddy. The first round is over, and guess what? We got a winner, bud. The champ is here. You said I was, what, 5-3?
You were 5-3.
I can't believe you're still wearing that ugly hat after 6 years. Well, 6 years in a row of disappointment, the first round exits. Let's talk about it, buddy. Let's hear it.
First of all, in regards to the hat, I'll never jump ship. Like, I can be as mad as hell, but I don't see myself, like, jumping ship. I don't think I'm that type of guy. Like, I'm the type of guy, like, when the Leafs lose in the playoffs, someone asks me, like, who you cheering for down? I'm like, I'm not cheering for fucking anybody anymore. Like, I'll go down with the ship. They lost. I'm not happy about it, but I think the hat's staying, bud.
Well, you know what? That's true words of an actual, I got to give you compliments on that because it's true words of an actual fan, no matter how bad that their fans are there.
And don't get me wrong, I am pissed.
They're the best and worst fans in the world because they stick with them. They're the best as in they stick with them, and they're always on their side. And, you know, I mean, they're always at the games. They show up. They buy their merch. You know, everybody's wearing Leaf jerseys. It drives me nuts. And they're the worst fans in the world, and I'm not going to get into that, but I love chirping them. So I think
just one positive. How loud was the arena in Toronto? It was deafening.
Last game there, yeah, it was awesome to watch. You know, you feel it. You can just feel like you obviously just watching on TV, but you're feeling like the team. You know, like you're just like, you know. And I was going through Facebook while the game was on or intermission or whatever, and there was a pile of people that were on my Facebook that were at the game, including one of our friends here, Tyson Terrian, was there with his girlfriend there. I don't know if you've seen that, but we've had his brother on the show. Their dad played in the NHL for the Leafs, and we've got some awesome Leafs coming to pay for sports events. We'll get into that soon, though.
And another sponsor that was at Game 7, Gerald Bilker from Primerica Services. He was there as well as a partner Pay It Forward Sports. So I will give Gerald a shout as well.
Shout out to Gerald. So I mean, I want to know your thoughts because I've tried to ask some Leaf fans as far as what their thoughts are for the future, and I think you and I have chatted a bit. But let's hear it. Like, so you know, let's break it down just for a second. I mean, you're in year 6 of the rebuild, we'll call it. You know, obviously, or whatever you want to call it, it's a rebuild, and it's year 6 now, I think, with Matthews, and that's year 6 with these players. That's not since the rebuild started, right? Like that's
100%.
8 years ago, maybe in that range, before they planned it. So we've been going on here. We're going to get close to a decade now. I think that's a long time. I want to say it was 8 years ago when they said we're cutting everybody loose. Then they had a full year of losing, then drafting Matthews, right?
Yep.
I think Marner might have been before that. But anyways, so it's a tough one. It's game 7. Most Leaf fans I talked with actually thought, geez, they played hard, and it was a lot different than previous years where they feel like they just gave up before the game 7 even started. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, we didn't get to see too much of the game 7 because of the Pay It Forward Sports golf tournament, right? But, you know, I kind of don't agree with that. And I think just, you know, they were playing a higher level of team in Tampa Bay. So, like, Tampa Bay kind of drugged the fight out of them a little bit more than in the previous series. Like, I'll agree in the previous series, like in the Montreal series, like, yeah, they look like they folded, you know, pretty early. You know, you could tell they still had some effort at the end of the game, but they still weren't willing to go to the front of the net. Like, you know, I was talking to a few buddies after, and they still weren't willing to make those plays. Like the play in the third, Nick Paul cuts in on the goalie, and he cuts in real hard, right? He knows he's going to get hit, go in. On the other side, you get a Riley or a Nylander do that on the other side in Toronto, and they make the cut, and then they pivot, they go behind the net and circle back. They're just too content to play on the outside, I think. So, you can say the effort was there and maybe they didn't fold up, but I certainly don't think they played a lights out game 7 by any means.
Well, and some guys, I don't know, like some guys are happy with it, but at the end of the day, here's my take on it. Okay, no matter how it happened. I mean, we'll go back to a year ago when we were on this podcast.
That's my point. It doesn't matter how it happened.
We said it didn't matter, and people can say, well, this is BS with the scheduling, and you know what? You got
losers.
The position in hockey. Last year you had Montreal.
Yeah.
So you can sit there and talk about the schedule all you want. To me, that's bullshit.
I don't think anyone's talking about that. I don't hear anyone talking about the
I've had people talk about it to me.
Aww.
I've had people complain to me and still say it. And it is what it is. I get it. Maybe you got to play some tough teams, but I mean, at the end of the day, you got to beat the teams anyways, whether you want to win this cup. And the other thing is no matter how close they came, you failed.
Exactly.
Period. And that's where I stand. And I know I'm trying to say this as being a dick, someone that doesn't like the Leafs. I'm just saying it as somebody that watches hockey. And if you're judging, let's say you're the board of directors, above Shanahan or even Shanahan, and you've got to judge your business. This is what it is, a business. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's not just a team, which it is, but it's a business. They have to judge the business. Who's performing? What needs to be changed? And that's how these things work. At the end of the day, you can say we're close all you want. Changes have to be made because you failed. It was a failure, period. I hate to say it, but it was. And yeah, they were stacked against them and everything else. But I mean, yeah, they had a record year for Toronto, but you still didn't get ahead of Florida. I mean, right? Yep. So, you would have played Washington. Well, Washington had won the cup recently. They have one of the best goal scorers in the history of the game.
You could have played Pittsburgh. You're going to play Sidney Crosby.
Sidney Crosby. Like the whole East was jacked. I mean, there wasn't a weak team in the East, unfortunately, this year. I think the West is still a tough thing, but only about half the teams make it, right? So.
So since we're going to kind of talk about failing, if I could jump in here, so it feels like we're kind of focused on the negative here to start, and I'm 100% in, like, okay, they played a good series. Like, they played Tampa Bay, who's an unreal team. They played a good series. Like you said, there's failure. You did not win. It doesn't matter who you played. So someone has to take the blame at this point. I agree there needs to be changes made organizationally, and I think it starts right at, like, it sounds like Shanahan's got a vote of confidence, but and I said this last year, maybe this episode named Fire Dubas 2.0, failure means someone should pay. And I think it starts at Kyle Dubas. I don't see how it doesn't. I think you're in this predicament because of the contract you signed. And yeah, we didn't know the cap wasn't going to go up, but you know what? That's a lame excuse now. Like, it's been 3 years since COVID happened. Like, you knew the cap's not going up. You had time to adjust. You could have flipped Nylander. You could have tried anything is the point. So, yeah, I don't want to hear that excuse from Dubas that, like, the cap didn't go up, so the contracts look a little worse. Like, that's another just an excuse to me. Someone needs to pay, and I think it's got to start at Dubas. And I don't think it ends there. But I'm going to say Dubas for these reasons. This year, Nick Ritchie, Peter Mrazek, and then the style of play that they kind of, go into the playoffs with. They play this run-and-gun, loosey-goosey style, and again, it hasn't shown to work, right? How different does this series look with a Nazem Kadri in it as opposed to Alexander Kerfoot, who pretty much lost you a game with a penalty, like a bad penalty. He had 2 bad penalties. He got scored on when he took penalties. He had that giveaway in game, I believe it was game 6, where he just, like, dumps it to nobody. You replace that guy with Kadri, and, like, I know Barry was in the deal as well. So to me, it's got to start at Kyle Dubas. I think you've had 6 years of Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Morgan Riley, and you know what? It's time to call time of death on the Dubas experiment. I don't think it matters how smart he sounds at press conference or that he makes sense. It doesn't matter how good your plan is. Your plan failed at this point. That's my opinion on the Dubas matter.
So does that even start at Dubas, though? There's a start at Shanahan, because this is Shanahan.
Well, Shanahan has bought into the plan.
Shanahan's the one that, yeah, you're right. He bought into the plan, and he said, this is my plan, and I'm taking you, and with taking you, I get your plan. And that's where they got Hunter. And well, Lou only came in for a couple years, and then Hunter, and he chose Dubas over Hunter.
Yeah, that's where it stems from.
And I think at the end of the day, to me, it's the guy making the full decisions, and he went with this plan, and going with this plan, he knew, listen, Dubas has this style he wants to bring in. He wants to bring in the skill, which is where the game is kind of going. But at the end of the day, and he signed these guys, and I mean, we could talk about the Tavares one all day long. He signed Tavares, which I think most people would have signed him. But looking back, it hasn't paid out because it's taken away so much from the rest of the team.
Here's the problem with the problem with the Tavares side is the Tavares deal. Like, the last 3 years of the Tavares deal are going to be the worst 3 years in the deal. The deal with bringing in Tavares at that point is we're going to win a Stanley Cup in the next 4 years. I think with that Tavares deal, right? Because at $11 million, he's going to get worse. The last 3, 2, he's only going to get worse. And you know what? You haven't won a round in 4 years. Tavares is going to get worse now. I think the plan has failed. And I saw no issues bringing Tavares in when it happened, but I would have tried harder to win during those first 4 years, or I would have made it happen a different way. So he didn't do it. And I agree. I think it probably should be Shanny. I know you're kind of hitting at that. I would completely clean house.
And it's not that I'm not hitting at Dubas either. It's not that I'm saying that. I'm hitting at that. I'm just saying I think he has to start higher. I think the board of directors, it's a board of directors, right, that comes in, MLSC, right?
Yep.
Anyways, I think they have to fire Shanahan and fire Dubas. And that's the start. And they hire somebody else. And then if they want to hire a GM or hire a president, whatever they're going to do, but they'll say, listen, you're going to hire this, but we're not taking a whole year to look at this team and evaluate them.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of guys come in and they want to evaluate for the first year.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't happening. You've seen it. We want you to evaluate the past.
Yeah.
It changes this summer. You got 4 months, whatever it is, to make these changes. Or maybe it's less than that. Maybe they tell them 2 months. And at least one big name out of those top 4 got to go.
I don't necessarily think one of the top 4 has to move. Oh, so back to Shanahan. I would clean house. Shanahan, Dubas, Keith, they were all gone if I was in charge. I don't know who's in charge up there. They would all be gone. It's not a question for me. I did hear something to come out today and said Shanahan's probably safe. So I'm just going to.
What about Keith? What? So you don't think any of this is Keith's fault? You think you think it is Keith's fault?
I think Keith is absolutely has some part to blame because I think the number one job. He's a great communicator. Seems like a great coach. The number one job of a coach is to make sure you have the right players on the ice at the right time. And I think over the last 2 years,
can I just ask you why did he have the worst defenseman in the NHL? Did you hear Steve Simmons say that to him?
I did say that.
After game 5, am I at the right game there? After game 5, I think it was?
Game 4.
Game 4. Yeah, that's right. They won game 5. So after game 4,
well,
I mean,
this is
kind of a question, but at the same time, it was a terrible move by the coach.
Exactly. That's what I mean. His number one job as a coach, we both coach, it's to have the right players out there at the right moment. The start of game 4,
and you're on the road too.
On the road,
big thing
is not the time to put your number 6 defenseman in the lineup. And it doesn't matter who your number 6 defenseman is. You probably should start with your big dogs. But that's not the only thing, Brokey. So game 1, let's go Clifford. Kyle Clifford takes a 5-minute boarding penalty the second minute into the game. That could have spelled disaster, and that was 100% a Keith call. Simmons takes those penalties in games too. It's not like you had a great one. Could you have pulled the trigger on that one game earlier? You lost by 2 goals. Simmons in the box for 2 goals. Game 4, we have the issue. Let's go back to game 1 last year. He puts Rasmus Sandin in ahead of Travis Dermott. Sandin's the one, and that gets burned on the Paul Byron goal to go ahead 2-1 in game 1. You have Joe Thornton out there in the power play. The guy's like a 4th liner. Last year, you have all this talent. It just seems over and over and over again, we got the wrong guys on the ice in the wrong spot, and it's hurt the Leafs. That's the bottom line. Then I'm going to get to the style of play too, and this comes back to Dubas, and they're obviously Dubas and Keith are on page with the style of play. Would you agree? They both want to play run and gun.
Yeah, for sure. They 100% there are. Yeah. I think they know what they want to do, and I mean, I think they've definitely had conversations how they want their team to run, and that's where they work together in the Sioux, right? I just feel like that you're right in that. And the other thing to go on with that, and the reason why I asked you, Keith, because is there somebody else lurking in the weeds here that you would hire?
I'm not necessarily saying I would hire a Barry Trotz. No.
Oh, really?
I'm not 100% sold on that. I'm just saying I'm not particularly. I don't care too much who the coach is, as long as you get rid of this ridiculous style that you never give up the puck and you never want to make the hard play and take body contact. There was over and over. Go ahead.
What did Barry? Was it Barry Trotz not the one that won the cup with Washington?
He was.
Them from where? Where is Washington? I've said this many times, especially in the last year on this podcast. I compared the Toronto Maple Leafs to the old Washington Capitals before they could get past, which wasn't the first round, which was usually the first or second round with Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And then finally they hire Barry Trotz, They won Stanley Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Oh, I'm not. Yeah, Trotz is definitely in consideration. I just haven't. Man, we're like 2 days into the Leafs losing. Like I haven't moved on to like who's the next coach going to be. Like I'm still in like rage mode kind of thing where like I'm trying to. I want to like get my frustrations out on like Keith Dubas and like the gang, right? So sure, there should be a replacement. I'm not worried who the replacement is right now. I'm out for blood. That's what I'm out for right now, Brokey.
I just don't understand. What gets me is you can sit there and like guys and stuff, but how can you lose so many times in a row, and no matter how close you are to getting past, and say, well, you know what? I think we'll just give it an next try with the same group next year. Like,
well, you can't.
Like, that drives me nuts, though. Like, and I'm just like, I got some buddies that are like, no, you're crazy if you change anything. I'm like, what? That's what life's about. You learn from the thing. You look to what the mistakes are. You look at what you could change, and you get better. I mean, you failed. Whether how good these players are or not, they obviously aren't good enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not just this year. It's all these years, man. You keep getting all these chances. So, but anyways, yeah. Yeah. But other than the personnel we've talked about, what about players? Like, if you got somebody, what's your thoughts? Because I know you've gone over the cap a little bit. So you're Dubas' successor. What do you do?
Well, you're in cap held right now. Like you need someone like Giordano to come in and take a discount. You need to get Campbell at a good number or find another starting goalie at a good number. I think option one is you got to look to trade Nylander. And I've kind of said this no matter what would have happened. I just think even if the Leafs won the cup this year, I think it's probably Nylander's time to go. I think he has 2 years left on this deal. And I think like his base salary is like $2.5 million for the next 2 years. Like that's going to have some value to some teams just because you don't pay him that much money, right? So I'm thinking Nylander's going to go, and but you got to get something for him, right? You got to get a first and a player that can come in and play. You got to shed that $7 million, and you go from there, and you keep filling out the pieces, and you got to develop some talent internally. I think that's the big thing is no young prospects coming through the system that are going to help right now. I mean, it's pretty much this group of free agents, like all those good teams from years past. You got to have some pressure from the young guys coming up, putting some pressure on the older guys to perform, and I don't see that. So I mean, I would probably flip Nylander for something and just kind of get to work tinkering on the rest. I would try to move Kerfoot. I probably wouldn't bring back Engvall. I mean, maybe I'd bring back Engvall at like a league minimum contract. The guy thinks he's the next coming of like Gordie Howe or something. No, like if he wants $1.5 million, you can see you later kind of thing. But let McKay go, and I would just kind of retool that third line.
You got to replace guys though. Like it's just going to be a lot harder. And like, what if Spez is gone? There's another guy gone that's making like $700,000 a year. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens this year. But I still think one of these guys got to go. I said it last year. They got to go. One of them, it's not working. Fix it. They can sit there and say, oh, they're close, they're skilled, they're this, they're that, but they're not winners. They haven't won, right? So you got to bring some guys in that can win. I don't know. Maybe this is maybe they bring in a guy, that I'm trying to think, just more of a more less skilled. Even like a Paul. What if Tampa Bay ends up going third or fourth round here? I mean, he might want too much, but maybe somebody on a little bit less.
I wouldn't be looking for a Nick Paul. Not even close.
No, but that's the problem is you guys are looking at these high-end skilled guys, and you don't look at guys who are winners who win, right? Like,
man, what does Nick Paul want?
Maybe he just won his first round. He just won that.
Oh, congratulations! You're
a World Juniors. He's won. He has won some things. Maybe he didn't win with Ottawa. He's only there for 2 years. Mm-hmm. But maybe the winning isn't the same word I'm looking for. He didn't score. Did he score the goal in the World Championships last year for the game winning? So he has won a little bit for me.
You need some role players to fill some roles for sure.
But I'm thinking not just role players as like a fourth line, but instead of playing, a guy making $7 million on your third line or whatever, second or third line, you're going to have to change it and go. Maybe we can get a guy making $2 million on our third line and a guy making $3 or $4 million in that second or third spot, right? They can't all be $7 million guys. That's what I'm trying to lean towards here is that
for sure.
They can't all be these high-end skill guys. And maybe Nick Paul was a bad example, but that was just where I'm trying to get to is where like you need to go for maybe that little grindier type style with a little bit less skill, but the effort's there, right?
No, I agree with that. You got to find some players.
That was a bad example, but
that's so. Yeah, I think we're our points are the same here. Is I'm going to lose guys like Kerfoot, Engvall, and Mikheyev that don't play the style to play on those secondary lines. Like they don't bring, like the Leafs have guys to skate fast. Like they don't need Mikheyev to skate fast. Like you have Nylander, you have Matthews, Marner, you have good players. You don't need another guy like Mikheyev that, sure, maybe kill some penalties. If the guy wants $3.5 million, see you later. You don't do what the team needs. I feel like everyone on the secondary is like the same player. Like Kerfoot and Mikheyev are the same. Like Engvall literally is aspiring to be like just like those two. Like, they're not impact players. Like that's the part of the problem.
Engvall, for the longest neck in the league. Hey, Engvall, oh, look at my draft.
So like Engvall's he feels like a replacement level player to me. Like I don't feel like Mikheyev, Engvall, or Kerfoot are ever going to be scoring threats either. Like they're just kind of guys filling spots. That's what they feel like to me. Just another passenger. Like if you're going to bring a third line guy in, have someone that plays a different kind of role, brings some energy, just does a different thing to help the team win. You can't win the same way every night. And if you have all the players are the same, that's the only way you can win, right? So I'd be looking to to redo those, maybe from your third winger down to like your number 4 forward down to your number 7, 8 forward kind of thing, right? That's what I'd be looking to tinker. I think Giordano's a big guy, though. I think the Leafs got to try to bring Giordano back. I don't know how they do it. He definitely needs to take a hometown discount, but I think he looked great in the playoffs. And I wasn't even like super pumped in the move when it happened. So if the Leafs could bring Gio back for some defensive depth, I would do that. That would be my play, bro. Yeah, I'd be looking to dump Kerfoot. That'd be my number 1 move to start.
Well, yeah, but it's easy to say, this guy's got to take a hometown discount. Like,
I'm just saying.
Not everybody's going to take the Jason Spezza discount here.
Oh, I know that.
One guy's not taking less than $15 million in 2 years is Austin Matthews. So
probably not.
What's that?
Probably not. No.
Oh, I can't see it. You think that? No way.
Why would he?
No, I wouldn't if I was him either. But
no way.
But anyways, it'll be interesting to see what comes the next month or so. I feel like if they're going to make a change, they should make it within the next month. Yeah, I would think. Get on it. I mean, July 1st is only around the corner. So if you're going to make these changes, you need to make them, right? So, but do you want to move on to our bets? I went 5-3.
Yeah.
In the first round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Yeah. You got me there. Oh, the Rangers game last night. Holy, I don't know what that penalty was for, but that cost me. So I'll give you that one. But yeah, you can have the honors of going first to second round, buddy.
Okay,
and we'll make some picks. So we'll go $20 a series again.
Yep. So Fleming owes me 40 from there. Plus I won 50 off you with the Leafs on top of that. And we still have our bets for our brackets, don't we? Then we have brackets somewhere. Yeah. But anyways, let's start with this second round. So the second round matchups will be interesting. So one last thing we didn't talk about before we get to that actually is there was 5 game 7s. What's your thoughts on those game 7s? I mean, you probably didn't see them all. I didn't see every single second of them, but probably seen highlights and whatnot. And any surprises or teams that you thought might get through other than Toronto?
Well, I didn't think Toronto would get through. They're not even close. So I did think Pittsburgh was going to get through. I thought Pittsburgh would be the team that would do it. I think I picked in our little bracket thing. I picked Pittsburgh as my second or third pick. Yeah. I did think they would win. Crosby getting hurt. Oh, what a shame that is. I know he played game 7, right? But
yeah, but he still was 100%.
Oh no, I'm not saying he's 100% at all. But yeah, that's a huge thing. They're on their third string goalie and made it up to game 7. How about Crosby? See Crosby blocking shots last night though.
Oh yeah.
That is what we're looking like. I'm not saying we're looking for Sidney Crosby, but someone to do something different, put their body on the line for their team, right? It brings everyone into it. I don't know, Pittsburgh felt way more deflated than they lost, when the Leafs, to me, just watching that game, because they put everything into it.
And that's the other thing that we didn't mention about Tampa Bay, because all we talked about was Toronto. So we'll click back a second. That's what Tampa Bay's learned to do to win. Mm-hmm. If you go back to those games, especially game 7, they're blocking shots with everything. They're putting everything on the line. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference from a winning team. It's not just about your Nylanders and your Matthews and all those guys, because they got them too, that can skate and make moves and score, but do all the other things such as block shots, get in the way, block lanes, just everything, right? And it was huge, the amount of shots. And it's all the top guys are doing it too.
Yeah.
Stamkos blocked a few. I mean, everybody was. So that's the big difference, and I think it took them a bit to learn. Toronto just doesn't get it. I think that's why they need at least one big name change. But
I agree they don't get it because everyone on that team was willing to block a shot, and there were very few guys on the Toronto team even willing to take a hit. That's the difference right there. That's what I feel is the ultimate difference. Tampa was willing to pay the price any way they had to, and the Leafs were very selective about how they would pay the price,
Yeah.
Especially some of the guys that needed to be, that needed to be that way. Some of your secondary guys. That's my opinion on it. But yeah, let's so Tampa Bay, I think I didn't take Tampa Bay to win the cup in our little bracket. They might win the cup. Like, they're an unreal team. They're just so good.
They could again. That would be hard to do just because in this era. But well, let's go to the four series here. We'll make our picks, and we'll talk about them quickly. So Colorado, I'm going to take Colorado over St. Louis as my first one.
Okay.
All right. Colorado, just dominant team. It showed in the first round. Did you see what Sutter's comments were? Something like,
yeah, be a waste of 2
play
weeks.
Colorado waste of 4 games or something like.
Waste of 8 days.
8 days or whatever it was. It was pretty funny. That's Sutter. And the funny thing was they asked him what is this Calgary team like compared to your championship teams, and he goes, nothing. There's not one thing the same, which I kind of thought was a knock to them. But I mean, maybe that's part of his coaching strategy. He is a hard-nosed guy. So, but anyways, Colorado. I thought St. Louis. I actually thought Mini might get in there. They got some talent, but I think St. Louis been there, done that, same thing, knows how to block shots, knows how to play.
I'm surprised you gave me that pick because in our bracket I took St. Louis to win the cup. So I'm surprised you didn't remember that. And then you gave me. I would have taken St. Louis. I would have.
This round you were Colorado.
I think St. Louis is going to upset this round. I really do.
Oh, okay. Well,
just because St. Louis is my pick for the cup. I think they're that team from the West that's going to play. Is Colorado ready to take that next step like the Leafs?
Oh, they are.
I know they got past the first round. Are they ready to get past the second round? It's
time will tell.
It's go time. Like, this is Colorado's year, right? And I think this is their test right here. I think St. Louis is the number 1 or 2 team in the West. I think they're better than Calgary. That's for sure. So I would take St. Louis to win this series. I'm feeling the upset, Brogy.
So it sounds like we're agreed on this one. So you're up next, buddy. What series are you going to go with, and who are you going to take?
Give me 2 seconds here. I'm going to take Carolina. I think Carolina showed a lot this round. Freddie Anderson wasn't there, and they still they had a victory. The Rangers had a really hard-fought 7-game series. Pittsburgh was beat up. I don't think Shesterkin looked great. Zibanejad looks like he's been on fire last game 6 or 7. So that's a dangerous though. But I don't know. I'm gonna take Carolina in this spot.
I think that's going to be one hell of a series too. Honestly, I'm almost torn on this one. That Shesterkin or whatever. I feel like he wasn't as good as we maybe expected. But look who they're playing against, right? And he's also a rookie and everything else. So it's one hell of a player. But again, Rangers are just somebody. They could be that unsung hero. There's always. It seems like there's a lot of years where there's that unsung team that makes it to the finals. They don't know. They never usually win, but they make it to the finals, and then they might lose 4. Montreal was them last year, and there's a lot of teams throughout the years. So I actually don't mind you taking Carolina. I like Carolina. I won $50 off the old man because he's a big Bruins fan. So thank you very much. I haven't got paid yet. I didn't even chirp him yet. I'll have to see him tomorrow. But so you know what? That was another Rangers Pittsburgh awesome series. But again, Carolina Boston. It could be Bergeron's last game, at least as a Bruin, maybe as a career. Who knows? He was hugging everybody. So another 2 fabulous Game 7s. We didn't really see much of the Carolina-Boston Game 7, but awesome series. So that Carolina team, they are built to play playoffs. I do like him. I love the coach, Brendan Moore. He brings everything into it, the passion. I love that about him. So he's one of my favorite coaches in the game right now. So, I think I would probably be leaning towards Carolina, to be honest. So that's a good pick. But goalies, you never know. Yeah. I think this series goes deep, though. I go 6 or 7. So I guess it's me. Yeah. So do I want to go with the Florida Tampa Bay, or do I want to go with Oils and Flame? Now, the other thing was, we haven't talked about this at all. How unbelievable was McDavid Game 7? Did you watch any of it? Man. Holy shit. He's got 14 points.
I know he's got, he got 14 points in 7 games. He put them on his back in Game 7. I actually did watch that whole Game 7 because that was after the Leafs game, right? So
yeah, would you change your mind on MVP yet? If it
well, not MVP, no, but best player in the world, yeah, I would flip.
So he's less valuable to his team than Matthews?
I don't know. I think this year Matthews is more valuable. He scored 60 goals.
Well, you're not talking about playoffs. I'm trying to bring playoffs into the factor, and I know it doesn't count for that, but I'm just saying. Fuck, I think, I really like Johnny Hockey.
So are you taking them or what? What are you taking here?
I haven't decided. Give me 5 seconds to talk about
5 seconds. You've been talking about it for 20 seconds.
I really like Calgary. After hearing Sutter there, and it just makes me nervous taking them, but they're a high-skilled team. I think it's going to be a lot of goals. Unless they can take out McDavid, it's going to be.
Make a pick.
I'm gonna. Yeah. Do I want to go with? I'm definitely taking this series. Because I don't want to touch the Florida Tampa Bay one. I'm letting that go to you. I'm going to go with McDavid. I'm just going to go with McDavid. You know, I don't know. I'm nervous.
McJesus, buddy. McJesus.
McJesus. So there you go. I got McJesus. I think after seeing what he did in Game 7, and you know your boy Kane playing with him too. I know you hate him, but he's actually done well this year. So maybe this is the year they're going to run with him.
That was a horrible pick, Brokey. The Calgary Flames are going to cakewalk Edmonton 4 or 5 games. It's going to be done quick.
$100 on that, 4 or 5 games. I bet you it goes
about 100. I get like 4 to 1 on that online, Brokey. I'm making a bold claim
5 games, you get 4 to 1 on that? No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, you would.
Past 5 games, you think you'd get 4 to 1?
You'd get at least 3 or 4 to 1. Yeah. Most people are going to say it's going to go 6 or 7. So.
Okay, I don't think you get 4 to 1.
Well, anyway. I'm not going to take your bet straight up here.
Okay, so
Calgary's going to. Man, Mike Smith looked real bad. He looked real bad at some points in the playoffs. Let's Jacob Markstrom or Mike Smith. I'm gonna take Jacob Markstrom every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
I'm taking McJesus.
I'm taking Calgary 4 or 5 games. It's gonna be a quick one. Bye McJesus.
Okay, so throw another 40 on it. That it goes. I'm gonna say it goes 6 or 7.
No.
You're so kidding. I'll talk, Flem.
I'll make a bet online.
I don't even think you've had a belt all year. Last year you won, not this year. I don't think you won once. Anyways, last series, buddy. Florida, Tampa Bay. Who you got?
The Tampa Bay Lightning. I think they proved they're a great team. I don't know. You know, this is Florida couldn't get over the hump last year. I think it's going to be the same thing. I don't think they have enough juice to get over the hump. I think a big thing is going to be how Braden Point is. He left Game 7, but yeah, until proven otherwise, I'm taking Tampa Bay.
See, I feel like that too, but I'm like, maybe they're a little beat up. Going 7 games, and then maybe, I'm actually secretly cheering for Giroux to win a cup, so that he comes home to Ottawa. That's what I'm hoping for, boys. So I can't lie. Ottawa needs it. But anyways, this belt's really heavy. I can't wait to hold it again. In about 2 weeks' time. But we've got our 4 picks here. It's going to be fun to watch. Can't wait to watch it. But the other thing here, guys, is we forgot to mention, but we had an amazing tournament this past weekend for BOOclub Sports. A winning team won a trip to Las Vegas. This is going to be unbelievable. They shot an unbelievable score, which I don't think we'll ever see in one of our tournaments again. No. They were sinking everything. So we just want to thank everybody coming out, all of our participants, all of our sponsors. We've got some really good shout-outs on Facebook, so thank you to you guys. Our next tournament, June 18th. It's at Rondell Glen Golf Course. It's going to be a fun one, guys. It's only $560 per foursome, and one random team is going to win a trip. Golf package. Yes, Fleming, in Myrtle Beach. So golf and hotel included. It's going to be awesome. You can drive there if you'd like or fly. It's totally up to you, but the golf and the hotel is included. And there's also be a pile of other prizes, guys. Another thing, too, is we had a hole-in-one challenge this past weekend. And a good buddy of mine listens to the show, Mark Goody, was 2 feet away from his whole team going to Las Vegas as well. I'm not kidding. I got a photo of it. And so that would have been close or good for him. But we're going to do that again at the next tournament. So, guys, get in. I know we're starting to fill up here. And then last but not least, we just announced last week our biggest tournament in our history. This is our biggest thing in our history. I know we've said we've got a lot of big things. This blows out of the water. Toronto Maple Leafs fans, listen up. We're going to have Wendell Clark and Rick Vive headlining our Celebrity Golf Classic, July 16th at Trillionwood Golf Course, brought to you by Shoeless Joe's and many, many more partners. If you want to be a partner and a sponsor in this event, get a hold of us. We're selling out fast. It's ran a little bit differently. We're going to have everybody gets to golf with a celebrity, depending on how many groups. We only have so much space. A lot of the other celebrities are guys like Andrew Shaw. We're going to have a lot of other local hockey guys and local athletes around. We bring in a lot of ex-Belleville Bulls fan favorites. David Silverstone was a huge fan favorite. Other NHLers that play with the Bulls, such as Justin Papineau, remember him, captain. Yep. Chris Newberry, another Toronto Maple Leaf, and many, many more.
Norm Miracle,
Stanley Cup champion.
John Lalonde. It's unreal.
Yeah, he's got a Stanley Cup ring, so it's going to be phenomenal. The way it works, guys, okay, you get $1,600 per foursome, but you get $1,600 worth of raffle tickets, okay? So you can either sell them all and go for free, literally play for free, or You can put your name on them all and have $400 worth of raffle tickets each person, right? Or sell some, keep some, whatever you want to do. And there's going to be top 10 prizes that we will have that night at Shoeless Joe's. That's where the after party is. For $10,000 of the prizes, like we're talking trips to Jamaica, Dominican Republic, we're talking Las Vegas, Toronto Maple Leafs games, Blue Jays games, Raptors games, Niagara Falls weekend package. It's going to be unbelievable. So it's like, oh, it's $400 a person. No, it isn't, because you're getting all this value, and you can sell the tickets. Now, having said that, one last thing. The top 5 groups, so whoever groups sell the most tickets, because you can go over the 1,600, whoever sells the most gets to pick who they golf with. So if you want to go out, sell to your friends, your family, your neighbors, whoever, people at work, and you sell the most, you can say, I want to golf with Wendell Clark. Guess what? You're golfing with Wendell Clark. Or maybe it's Rick Vaive. Rick Vaive had the most goals in the single season for 40 years as a Toronto Maple Leaf. How unbelievable is that until this past season? So it's going to be an unbelievable event. As you can tell, I'm fired up. I can't wait to get this going. So guys, get a hold of us and get in.
Absolutely. Well said, Brokey. We'll wrap it up there. So if you want to get in the upcoming golf tournaments, like Brokey said, visit payitforwardsports.ca. And Brokey, are you in?